The message arrived on a Tuesday morning, transmitted simultaneously to every screen on Earth. The aliens didn't bother with diplomatic channels or government protocols. Their holographic message simply appeared, rendered in perfect detail across billions of devices, showing a being that looked like flowing mercury shaped into vaguely humanoid form. "You reside upon sacred ground," it announced in every human language simultaneously. "This world is the final rest of the Seventh Empire, the crystalline dominion, and 4 other great civilizations. You have unknowingly built your cities upon their graves. You have 27 solar cycles to evacuate." In the UN Security Council chamber, Secretary General Helena Chen watched the message replay for the 15th time. The being's liquid metal form rippled with each word, creating patterns that seemed to hypnotize anyone who stared too long. She turned to the hastily assembled panel of xenorchaeologists and historians. "How much of what they're claiming can we verify?" she asked, her voice steady despite the weight of 7 billion lives resting on the answer. Dr. James Rodriguez, his usually pristine lab coat wrinkled from 2 days without sleep, stepped forward. "The deep crust anomalies we've been studying for decades, they're not natural formations. We've found structures, Madam Secretary, vast complexes of alien architecture, perfectly preserved but dead, some extending dozens of kilometers into Earth's crust. We thought they were random deposits," added Dr. Sarah Patel, bringing up a holographic map showing hundreds of spots across the globe marked in red. "But they're not. They're cities, ships, entire civilizations, all buried at different depths, all dead. Earth isn't just a graveyard, it's layers upon layers of them." Helena absorbed this information, her mind racing through implications and possibilities. Why here? Of all the planets in the galaxy, why did they choose Earth? "We don't know," James admitted, "but whatever brought them here killed them. All of them. And somehow, we've survived where they didn't." A junior analyst burst into the room, tablet clutched in trembling hands. "Madam Secretary, we're detecting massive energy signatures entering the solar system. Multiple objects, each larger than the moon, decelerating toward Earth orbit." Helena stood, smoothing her jacket with practiced calm. "How many?" 7 vessels, ma'am. 1 for each of the civilizations mentioned, we think. They're here to enforce the evacuation." The room fell silent. Humanity had just discovered it wasn't alone in the universe, only to learn they were living on top of an intergalactic cemetery. And the caretakers wanted them gone. Helena walked to the window, looking out over New York City. Millions of people went about their lives, unaware that alien megastructures lurked beneath their feet, or that massive ships were approaching to evict humanity from the only home they'd ever known. "Get me the Security Council, the G20, and anyone else who needs to be in this room," she ordered. "And find me every expert we have on those underground structures. If Earth is a graveyard, I want to know exactly what killed its previous occupants." She turned back to the room, her expression hardening with determination. "We're not leaving. This is our home. And if something on Earth was powerful enough to kill 6 advanced civilizations, we need to find it before they do. Because we might need it." As if in response to her words, seismographs across the planet began recording unusual patterns. Deep beneath the surface, in the ancient alien ruins, something was awakening. Humanity had less than 27 days to uncover the truth about their world's deadly past, and ensure they didn't become the 7th civilization to be buried in Earth's soil. The real question wasn't whether humans could survive on a planet that had proven fatal to so many advanced species. The question was, what made humans different? And would that difference be enough to save them? Dr. Sarah Patel stood in a cavern that shouldn't exist, 3 kilometers beneath the Atacama Desert. Her helmet lights illuminated walls that weren't rock, but sheets of an impossibly smooth material that seemed to drink in light. The alien metal was warm to touch, despite being buried for millions of years. "Found another one," called out Dr. Rodriguez from around a corner. His voice crackled through the radio, heavy with excitement. Some kind of control interface, I think. Similar markings to the ones we found under Beijing. Sarah made her way carefully through the ancient corridor, her boots clicking against floors that still gleamed like new. The Discovery team had found this complex just 6 days after the ultimatum. Now, with only 21 days remaining before the evacuation deadline, they were racing against time to understand what they'd found. The chamber Rodriguez had discovered was vast, its ceiling lost in darkness above. But it was the central pillar that drew their attention. A column of that same light-drinking metal, covered in spiraling patterns that seemed to move when viewed from the corner of one's eye. "Look at this," Rodriguez whispered, pressing his hand against one of the patterns. The metal responded instantly, flowing like quicksilver beneath his touch. Light bloomed from within the pillar, and suddenly the chamber was filled with holographic displays, each showing scenes from a civilization that had died eons ago. They watched in awe as images of the crystalline dominion played out before them. Beings of living crystal, their bodies refracting light in impossible ways, building cities that looked like forests of geometric gems. Then came the Seventh Empire, creatures of pure energy contained within suits of that same dark metal that surrounded them now. But it was the final images that made Sarah's blood run cold. They showed Earth, but not as they knew it. The planet's surface was covered in vast cities, each more magnificent than the last. Then came the darkness, a wave of something that consumed light itself, spreading across the globe like a cancer. They didn't die by accident. Sarah breathed, her voice barely a whisper. They were running from something. All of them. They came to Earth because it was the last place their enemy would look. Rodriguez finished. A primitive planet, barely capable of supporting complex life at the time. The perfect hiding place. Sarah's tablet chimed. Another message from the surface. The alien ships had entered Earth orbit, their massive forms now visible to the naked eye, like new moons in the night sky. But she barely noticed. Her attention was fixed on the data streaming across the holographic displays. "James," she said, using Rodriguez's first name for the first time in their decade of working together. "These readings, the energy signatures we're detecting from those ships up there, they're identical to the ones shown here, just before everything went dark." Rodriguez's face paled behind his helmet visor. "You mean the beings demanding we leave Earth? They're not caretakers." Sarah's hands flew across the alien interface, bringing up more data, more proof. They're what the others were hiding from. The darkness that killed them all. Above them, the alien ships began their final approach, their demand for humanity's exodus unchanged. But now, buried in the graveyard of fallen empires, humanity had discovered a terrible truth. They weren't being evicted to preserve a burial ground. They were being cleared out so the true killers could finally claim their prize, whatever it was that all those ancient civilizations had died protecting. Sarah's radio crackled to life with a message from the surface. Secretary General Chen's voice was clear and determined. "Tell me everything you found, every detail. Because if these beings are what killed the others, then humanity isn't just fighting for our home anymore. We're fighting to prevent history from repeating itself." As if in response, the alien metal around them pulsed with a soft light, and new holographic images appeared, detailed schematics and plans left behind by those who had died here. The ancient civilizations had prepared for this moment, knowing it would come eventually. They had left behind weapons, technology, and knowledge, all waiting for someone worthy to find them. They had chosen their burial ground carefully, seeding it with everything needed to one day defeat the darkness. All they needed was a species stubborn enough, adaptable enough, and determined enough to use it. They had been waiting for humanity all along. Humanity had 16 days left when they began to understand why Earth was different, why they were different. Colonel Maya Torres stood in the Pentagon's new Archaeological Command Center, watching as data streamed in from dig sites across the planet. The room hummed with activity as military personnel worked alongside scientists. piecing together the puzzle left behind by Earth's previous inhabitants. "It's the radiation," Dr. Paddle explained, projecting a complex diagram into the center of the room. "Earth's background radiation. It's not natural. The entire planet was engineered to be a weapon." The hologram showed layers of Earth's crust, each containing remnants of the civilizations that had come before. But beneath them all was something else, a lattice of energy patterns that encompassed the entire planet. "They didn't just hide here," Dr. Rodriguez added, highlighting specific points in the diagram. "They transformed Earth into a fortress. Every species that came here adapted their biology to survive the radiation. It changed them, made them stronger. And then they died anyway," Colonel Torres finished. "All except us. We evolved here naturally, didn't we? We're the only ones who grew up with this radiation. It's not toxic to us. It's part of who we are." Above them, the alien ships maintained their vigil. Their demand for evacuation remained unchanged, but they had yet to take hostile action. Intelligence suggested they were confused by humanity's resistance, perhaps even concerned by it. They had good reason to be. In underground bases across the planet, human scientists and engineers worked with the ancient technology they'd discovered. The alien metal responded to human touch in ways it never had for its original creators. The radiation that permeated Earth's crust seemed to sing in harmony with human DNA. "Look at this," called out Lieutenant Chen, Secretary General Chen's daughter and the military's leading xenotechnology expert. She stood before a wall of the liquid metal, her hand pressed against its surface. Under her touch, the metal flowed and reformed, creating complex patterns that even the original schematics hadn't shown possible. "We're not just compatible with their technology," she explained, excitement breaking through her military composure. "We're better at using it. All those civilizations that died here, they were trying to adapt to Earth, but we're of Earth. We're what this planet was trying to create all along." The implications struck the room into silence. Humanity wasn't an accident. They were the end result of millions of years of planetary engineering, a species born to wield the very weapons that their predecessors had left behind. In orbit, the alien ships detected increasing energy signatures from the planet below. They watched as humans began activating systems that had lain dormant for millions of years, systems that their own kind had tried desperately to destroy ages ago. Secretary General Chen's voice came through the command center speakers, addressing not just those present, but all of humanity. "We know what they are now. We know why they're here. And we know what we have to do." She paused, and in that moment, every human on Earth felt the weight of destiny settling upon their shoulders. "Our predecessors built this fortress, but they couldn't use it to its full potential. We can. We will not evacuate. We will not surrender. We are humanity, and we are what Earth has been waiting for." As if in response to her words, the ancient machines buried beneath the planet's surface hummed to life. The alien metal that had slept for so long began to flow, reshaping itself according to its new master's will. Humanity had not just inherited a graveyard, they had inherited its purpose. The aliens above had come expecting to find another civilization, to add to Earth's collection of the dead. Instead, they found something unprecedented. A species that had evolved specifically to counter them, armed with the combined legacy of all those they had previously destroyed. In the command center, Colonel Torres watched as the first of Earth's new defenses came online. "Send word to all stations," she ordered. "Operation Inheritance is now active. Show them why humanity calls Earth home." The real battle for Earth was about to begin. The alien ships struck without warning on day 12. Their attack wasn't aimed at Earth's cities or military installations, but at something far more fundamental. They tried to alter the planet's background radiation, to poison the very thing that gave humanity its advantage. They failed. "The radiation isn't just part of Earth anymore," Dr. Paddle explained, standing in a bunker deep beneath the Himalayas. "It's part of us. It's in our cells, our DNA. They might as well try to turn off gravity." Around her, the walls of liquid metal rippled with patterns of light that matched her heartbeat. Similar scenes played out in installations worldwide as humanity's connection to Earth's ancient defenses grew stronger by the hour. Lieutenant Chen stood before a tactical display, watching as golden lines of energy coursed up from Earth's surface, intercepting the alien attacks. Every attempt they make to shut down our defenses just makes them respond more strongly to us, she said. It's like the planet itself is fighting back. The aliens' next attack came from a different angle. Massive ships began descending into Earth's atmosphere, their forms shifting and flowing like living mercury. They were beautiful and terrifying, their very presence distorting the air around them. But humanity was ready. In orbit, satellites that had been retrofitted with recovered alien technology came alive. On the ground, ancient defense systems emerged from their million-year slumber. And in between, humanity's own innovations merged with the legacy they'd inherited. The sky above Rio de Janeiro lit up as the first alien vessel encountered Earth's combined defenses. Energy beams that had once belonged to the crystalline dominion lanced upward, guided by human targeting systems. The alien ship's liquid metal surface tried to absorb the attack, but something was different. The energy wasn't just hitting them. It was resonating with Earth's background radiation, creating interference patterns that their adaptive armor couldn't counter. That's it, Dr. Rodriguez shouted, analyzing the data streams. They're ships. They're made of the same material as the structures we found underground. But they never figured out how to fully control it. Not like we can. In the Pentagon's command center, Colonel Torres watched as humanity's counterattack unfolded. Earth's defenders weren't just using the ancient weapons. They were improving them, innovating in ways their creators never had. Humanity's greatest strength wasn't just their connection to Earth's defenses. It was their ability to understand them, to modify them, to make them better. The alien ships retreated to high orbit, regrouping. Their next transmission carried something new in its tone: uncertainty. This world is death, the liquid metal being declared. All who claim it perish. Why do you not fear? Secretary General Chen's response was broadcast worldwide. Because we are not claiming Earth. We are Earth. Every civilization that died here left something behind. Not just their technology, but their understanding, their experiences, their very essence. It's all become part of this planet's evolution. Part of our evolution. She paused, letting her words sink in. You didn't find another civilization building on a graveyard. You found the graveyard's chosen guardians. And we will not abandon our duty. The alien ships began to move again, but this time it was different. They weren't preparing for another attack. They were arranging themselves in a pattern that the ancient records had warned about, a formation that preceded their ultimate weapon. In installations across the planet, the liquid metal walls pulsed with urgent patterns. The ancient defenders had seen this before. It was what had killed them, what they had died trying to prevent. But this time, Earth wasn't defended by visitors trying to adapt to its power. This time, its defenders had been born from its soil, shaped by its radiation, taught by the legacy of every civilization that had died protecting it. This time, humanity stood ready to face what all others had fallen before. The final battle for Earth was about to begin, and its children were ready to show why they deserved to be called its inheritors. The enemy's ultimate weapon turned out to be something far worse than a mere planet killer. As the alien ships locked into their final formation, they began generating a field that distorted the very fabric of reality, a darkness that consumed not just light, but existence itself. This was how they had killed the others, not through simple destruction, but by erasing them from the universe itself. But Earth was ready. More importantly, humanity was ready. All stations, execute protocol inheritance, Colonel Torres commanded from the Global Defense Center. Across the planet, humans placed their hands on panels of liquid metal, and something unprecedented happened. The ancient technology didn't just respond, it transformed. The metal that had once been merely responsive now became truly alive. flowing up human arms, covering their bodies in armor that was both ancient and new. The radiation that permeated Earth's crust surged through human bodies, not as an invader but as a part of them awakening. "We understand now," Dr. Paddle said, her voice calm despite the liquid metal coating reform. "The others, they tried to use Earth's power as a weapon. But that was never what it was meant to be." Around the planet, millions of humans became living conduits for Earth's energy. The radiation that had shaped their evolution now flowed through them freely, guided not by desperate survival, but by inherent understanding. The alien darkness descended, attempting to consume Earth as it had consumed so many worlds before. But where it touched, it found something impossible: points of light, each one a human being channeling the combined power of every civilization that had died protecting this world. In orbit, Lieutenant Chen coordinated the counterattack from a station built from reformed alien metal. They never understood. She broadcast to all Earth's defenders: "This planet isn't a fortress or a weapon. It's a transformation engine. Everything that died here became part of it, part of us." The darkness pressed harder, trying to erase humanity as it had erased so many others. But humanity pushed back, not with desperate resistance, but with the confident strength of those fighting for their home. Secretary General Chen stood in the United Nations, her body glowing with Earth's power, and made one final transmission to the enemy. "You gave us 27 days to evacuate. We used that time to become what we were always meant to be. Earth isn't your graveyard anymore. It's our birthright." The alien ships tried to intensify their attack, but they had made a crucial mistake. Every civilization they had erased on Earth had left something behind. Not just their technology, but their very essence. The radiation that permeated the planet carried the memories, the knowledge, and the determination of every species that had died defending it. And humanity, born of Earth itself, was the key to unlocking it all. The final battle was not fought with weapons, but with existence itself. Where the aliens brought erasure, humanity brought renewal. Where they sought to destroy, Earth's children chose to transform. The darkness cracked, then shattered. The alien ships, for the first time in their long history of conquest, found themselves facing something they couldn't simply erase: a species that had evolved specifically to counter them, armed with the legacy of all their previous victims. In the end, it wasn't even close. The liquid metal ships retreated, their perfect forms now scared with patterns that matched Earth's radiation. They had come to clear out what they thought was another occupied graveyard. Instead, they had found the graveyard's chosen guardians and learned why Earth had spent millions of years preparing for this moment. As the enemy fled, Earth's surface rippled with patterns of light, the combined energy of every civilization that had died there, now fully awakened and controlled by the species that had evolved to inherit their legacy. Humanity stood triumphant, not just as Earth's defenders, but as the culmination of every sacrifice made to protect it. They were no longer just another civilization living atop ancient ruins. They were the guardians that the others had died hoping would come. Earth was no longer the graveyard of empires. It was the cradle of their successors, and humanity was ready to carry their legacy to the stars. The age of hiding was over. The age of humanity had begun.